The biggest play for me in this split, Amazing with his beautiful kick where we have them disengaging from the base and then Amazing jumps in and then one smooth move.
YoungBuck gonna go low. Now the Wolves turn around. Amazing goes in. What an amazing kick that was. Curve goes down. This could actually be the game here for the Wolves if they play their cards right.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Game 2 in our quarterfinal match between Alliance and the Copenhagen Wolves. After taking down Alliance in their first game, the Copenhagen Wolves could advance to the semi-finals with another win here.
And the Wolves, they came out aggressively the moment the game started, and by 4 minutes and 54 seconds, they're taking down Alliance bottom inhibitor turret, and then Amazing got first blood against Wickd. And that's impressive enough on its own, but even more so against Froggen and Shook, who are second and third for first bloods in the entire European LCS. And Amazing, Tzortziou really performed well. He went 4, 1, and 10.
Yeah, fantastic stuff, even though it took the Wolves until the 44th minute, I should say, to expose another inhibitor. You really have to highlight their objective control. They had 5 out of 6 dragons, they had 2 out of 2 barons, and completely controlled things, even when Alliance would come to challenge them.
And we have to highlight cowTard as well, actually. We didn't talk too much about him in the game because it was mainly about the Jack split push and everything, but he really stepped up, and when he went 4, 1, and 8 on Yasuo against Froggen, he was farming so well in the lane. He was actually winning on farm at some points. So this is one of the mid laners in Europe who have been like, how strong is he? Against the MVP of the European LCS. And he actually went completely even in lane.
Yeah, so maybe Yasuo will be a focus ban. We'll see how these bans go, and we'll see how the teams adapt and control. You know, they were talking about it at the very start in the feature. They were saying, you know, how it's going to be really down to who can adapt the quickest. Alliance were probably not expecting themselves to be 1-0 down. They were the third place team. They were the ones that were close to finishing first place in that top 2, getting themselves a bye into the semi-finals. Instead, they went 2-2 in Super Week. If they'd gone 4-0, they would have been first place. Yeah. So they're a team that we're not expecting to be struggling against the Copenhagen Wolves.
And a team we wouldn't expect to actually lose this matchup. When we looked at it before and we were like, so Alliance has been playing well, so strong, and this patch also should really fit them with like Aurelia, these kind of champions for Wicked up in the top lane. Of course, Froggen can play everything he ever wants to. He normally used to love like Karthus and Orion, these farming champions. And now in this meta, they're very, very strong as well.
Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Picks and bans about to start Game 2 of the quarterfinals. Will the Wolves go 2-0 against Alliance? They are the blue team, and straight away, bans going through. Look at these, very fast. Nidalee, Aurelia, Renekton, Kha'Zix, Ziggs, and Jax, and they're going to lock in Evelynn because it was left available.
And this is what you get in these best-of-3 scenarios where you discuss the pick and bans before going into the game. And especially now after you just play the game, you need to change a few things. We see Kha'Zix ban from Alliance. Actually, they're the ones banning with Ziggs now. And of course, the Jax ban against YoungBuck. He was so strong. And it means for Copenhagen Wolves, they can pick up Evelynn, one of the strongest junglers. Insane early game pressure. Amazing, been playing it quite a lot. He loves this champion. Only issue now is the fact that Lucian, once again, won't be unforgiven.
Well, it's available. We'll see whether it gets locked in at the moment. Alliance are hovering over it. Could be 4 Tabzz. Also, the lease in for Shook could be a possibility. I know for a fact because I just walked through them while they were doing the pick and ban phase. I'm expecting to see a top lane coming out from the Copenhagen Wolves in this last one. YoungBuck was quite confident, saying, I can blind pick into anything Wicked plays.
And you don't want to spoil which one?
He didn't actually say which one.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I could predict, but I'm not going to. I know for a fact. I know for a fact Ryze is available. Actually, a champion that Wicked could be going.
And with Renekton, obviously, there's normally a pick Ryze does really well against. It's banned away. I believe Ryze would do well against all the picks being banned away here. So he could still just pick it. The ban actually does nothing for Ryze here, but it's obviously. He's left open. He was banned away in the first game. So for Copenhagen Wolves now, with so many top laners taken away from Wicked as well, if they lock in Ryze here, I'm not sure if Wicked actually plays Ryze, but if he does, then we'll hit on his champion pool again.
We'll see which way they go, of course. We actually assumed coming into this tournament that YoungBuck was going to get hit hard because the Gragas was banned out. The Donga was changed a little bit as well. So a lot of nerfs, a lot of changes to his top lane champion pool. And of course, with the Renekton ban as well, it kind of limited him down. But so far, he's happy to actually hold on. We've seen Caitlyn and Karma once again for the Copenhagen Wolves.
And this combo here with the Karma, with the Caitlyn in the last game, as soon as they got to the 2v2 scenario, they just had so much more poke onto Tabzz and Nyph on Twitch and Thresh. They couldn't do anything to respond back. Again, this thing we talked about in Champs League in the last game, how you now run with attack speed quins normally, not lifesteals. So against these very poke lanes, it's a lot harder because once you get hit, you're not actually going to sustain a lot of it back before you get your lifesteal by buying the item. So in that case, this combo by itself means for Copenhagen Wolves, they can lane swap again, do the same split push, and then once they get in 2v2 scenarios, they're going to be so strong.
Well, it's not exactly going to be a poke combo. If that Ryze gets locked in, it will be for Wickd, we feel. I don't think it's going to be Froggen that will take it. Nami also being a possibility. Nyph has played this one before. It's a champion that hasn't had a massive deal of coverage during the European Spring Split.
No, I mean, Nami itself, the issue for Nami was back in last split, her bubble was 2 seconds. That was very, very strong. They got changed down to 1.5 seconds. So that was actually a big hit to her. And at the same time, Nami always had the issue that if you don't land your bubble, you do nothing. That's it. Like, if you don't land your bubble, you won't actually do anything in the laning phase here. So that's why it's a bit of a risky pick.
This is actually not a bad pick against against the Ryze, but it's going to get switched away.
That was a letdown.
Lulu pick. That's going to be the mid lane Lulu for cowTard and a top lane Mundo for YoungBuck.
So Jed was talking about Lulu in the pre-show, how you can do now your double Q onto the Pixie because it's reduced to 4 seconds, where it was 6 seconds before. So that's a change, of course. It's a big change to her. Also, the damage on E has been reduced. So there's some big changes onto Lulu here, but she's still a very strong pick, still very strong in the laning phase. And once you get to team fights, again, look at the disengage, look at the kite from Copenhagen Wolves, just like last game. Cleavers from Mundo, you got the slows from, of course, from Lulu, the speed up from Karma, the slow from Karma, the slow for Evelynn, slow for Caitlyn. Everyone brings the slow here, so it's so hard for Alliance actually to catch on to Copenhagen Wolves.
There's no easy targets on the Copenhagen Wolves right now. Everybody can get out.
Yep.
Everybody's got versatility. You've got the double shields from the Lulu and Karma. You've technically got a giant shield on Amazing if he lands the Evelynn ultimate as well. This is why maybe we're going to see the Defile being thought of. Karthus is going to get locked in, and this is a champion that Froggen favors heavily. This is going to be his time to shine. Yeah,
but this is also a champion you normally pick when the enemy team is playing a composition that dives onto you. So like when you die, like in the last game, so they dive onto you, you die in the middle of everyone, and you just deal a ton of damage to them. However, Copenhagen Wolves comp, they don't need to run in your face. They can just kite around you. So when Froggen dies, if they speed up each other with, for instance, let's say Karma pops the speed up on multiple members, they can run out of this Defile. So it's going to be hard for Froggen to actually stay and do damage to them, unless of course Wickd is there with some of his CC. A good bubble from Nyph of course could be game breaking in this one with the Karthus here. So we need to see how this one will play out. I mean, comp wise again, the late game from Alliance, that is scary stuff. Karthus and Ryze, ouch.
Yeah, fantastic. So we'll see how this one works out. Remember, the Copenhagen Wolves are 1-0 up in this series. It's a best of 3. So if they do come out victorious, they will be going through to the semi-finals tomorrow. Big, big game for Alliance, though, coming into this one. Remember, 81% of you on LOLesports.com voted for Alliance. No surprise, they were the 3rd place team coming into this one. Pressure very much on. And it seems that actually a lot of them have fell back to comfort champions.
Yeah, especially Karthus pick. Ryze pick, though, for Wickd. It's actually not something we've seen him play, at least not very often. So
he hits it hard in solo queue. We got to give him that.
That might be one thing, but we need to see how he performs. I'm by no means saying that Wickd is not going to perform on this Ryze. I'm just saying, in the past, when
it's a very different champion for him.
Yeah, it's a very different champion than Irelia, than Renekton, where we normally see Wickd here. So we need to see how he performs, how he plays the lane. And the issue about Ryze, especially in this 4.5, is lane swaps, they hit you hard.
So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We are getting into the game. Game 2 of the quarterfinals. What a matchup it has been so far. The Copenhagen Wolves started off very strong. This time around, though, they are the blue side. We'll see whether they stack up for the bottom lane or the top lane. Alliance, of course, as the red team, could try and do a counter tactic, of which they faced against Wolves in the last game.
So again, looking at the comps here when we come to, let's say, the team fights. Nyph really needs to land a bubble. And also, of course, Wickd needs to hit, or needs to at least use his rune base on a key target, on a squishy target, not on Amazing, not on YoungBuck here, because the CC from Alliance is very limited on a very mobile comp from Copenhagen Wolves. So that can be big issues for Alliance coming into the team fights. Of course, the wall from Froggen is going to slow them down, going to do quite a lot to them here, but that's about it. So they really need to land the CC here on the key targets and then just blow them up instantly. And they need to make sure when Froggen actually dies in these fights, the rest of Copenhagen Wolves is stuck around them and can't really move out.
Well, it doesn't seem that we're going to get any of those deep wards, of course. Nobody's bought a ward this time around. We've seen the Spell Thieves, of course, from Unlimited and Nyph. Well, he's gone with the Ancient Coin, so no deep wards on those red buffs. They kind of counted each other last time around, and nobody gained anything, so the same could be said as if nobody does anything, nobody gains anything either.
Yeah, true. But we can definitely say last game Copenhagen Wolves got the best of the lane swap, also with the Zing Zhao doing so much damage onto the turret here, so they really wanted this lane swap. Here, if they do get 2v2, they're going to be happy with it too, especially because now Lee Sin against Evelynn. Evelynn will do less damage because of Lee Sin with his attack speed bonuses whenever he uses abilities, so he's going to be a little bit faster here. But Copenhagen was actually going 5 members into this blue buff.
5-man late invade. Wickd does have teleport if required, but it would be very deep for him to do that one. They're going to go for the blue buff, and Alliance are not in position to counter this one. Shook is making a mad dash for it. Teleport already coming out. YoungBuck's going back to the top. They have stolen the blue buff away from Alliance.
And now Shook, he needs to move into the blue buff of Copenhagen Wolves, which can be very, very risky if Amazing just rushes over there after he killed his own blue buff. He might actually be able to stop him, because Amazing, or Shook, sorry, nobody's helping him. Nobody's pulling the red buff from. Nobody's giving him damage, so he's all alone on killing this red buff.
Well, Tabzz is just having a restart of his client right now. He was down at the bottom turret. Nothing gained from this for the Wolves. They've already taken away, or they were about to take away that blue buff. So a great start, a gain from the Wolves. Their level 1 play has been impeccable in this quarterfinal.
And this is the reason we very rarely see teams just standing in the lanes waiting for something to happen anymore, because if you're just stuck in your bottom lane, you're not late invading anything with your dual lane, and the enemy team goes into your blue buff, that's why you give them a chance to take free buffs at level 1. That's the whole issue. That's why you need to make these late invades. Now, where there is no vision, you need to guess. That's why you need to be offensive, actually. That's the best defense. You need to go in yourself, find the buff. If the enemy team is late invading on your blue buff, fine. As long as you're at their blue buff, you just trade. That's no problem. You lane swap. So Alliance here, just playing passive, just waiting it out, actually means when Copenhagen Wolves went in for the invade, just picked up a blue buff now, and if Amazing decides to try and rush back to the blue buff, he might be able to stop Shook from actually taking it, and then free buffs for Copenhagen Wolves at level 1.
Yeah, Shook on his red buff at the moment, and he's going to obviously make a move straight for that blue, but as you mentioned, if he just goes straight for it, he's going to cut him off, catch him out. Who would you favour? An Evelynn versus a Lee Sin? What? It's going to be level 2 fight, I guess.
Well, seeing as Lee Sin is going to be a lot lower than Evelynn when this fight starts, because first of all, he's doing the red buff by himself, so he's going to take quite some damage there. He needs to pull the blue buff and start it, taking even more damage when Amazing then can join in. So obviously the advantage should be in Amazing's favor here. If they do fight straight up in, let's say, level 2 or something against each other, the damage, of course, for Lee Sin is fairly high. The instant damage from Lee Sin, but the sustained damage from Amazing here, if he can just continue chasing after him, he's going to do so much damage to him and might actually force him just completely out. And if Shook decides to take red buff, go for the blue buff, fails it because Amazing is there to stop him, or YoungBuck is there to stop him, then he's so far behind already from the start, so the pressure Amazing can apply with Evelynn is going to be so much higher than the one Shook can apply.
We'll see how this one works out. We're getting ready to go back in just a moment. Just waiting for the client to restart in there. And if you've missed any of the action so far, don't forget you can catch up over at lolesports.com. Go over to YouTube. You can check out the VODs as well. They're all going to be on that website eventually. So if you missed game 1, do not worry, ladies and gentlemen. You can catch up. It was a cracking game as well. Definitely a lot of pressure coming out. And nobody was expecting the Copenhagen Wolves to be in this position, I don't think, and other than the Copenhagen Wolves.
Of course, they had a game plan from the start. We saw it away, banning away 2 top laners from Wickd here. Not even like, yeah, so okay, the Renekton pick against Wickd is not actually normally something people ban away. Aurelia we've seen a few times, but Renekton ban away against Wickd, not very often. And they just go straight for Wickd and say, target, instant lock the Jax. Here we go, what are you going to do?
So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Game is unpaused. You may have just caught a glimpse of the sound, and there is back underway. Let's see the path. Where does Amazing go? Does he just go to the red buff, or does he dash for the blue? And more importantly, does Shook try and get straight across there? They know, of course, they both have ward coverage. They know the position. Red buff is being taken by Shook right now. Amazing already. He's heading straight for that blue buff.
He can go and stop him here. He can even do raves on the way because Shook takes such a long time to take the red buff here. He does decide to move in. Let's see if Amazing actually want to go and stop him.
Passes straight over a ward.
Spotted out. Down to about 80%, starting the blue buff now. Smite is going to be ready in just a second. cowTard is moving. Amazing is moving it. They need to be fast though.
And Shook is going to try and take this one down. He's got Smite available now. Tries to go for it, gets it down.
Slow.
Does manage to get caught out with the slow. cowTard comes around. Does mean Amazing won't get there in time, and Shook has hit and run.
He missed the slow onto him here, so they couldn't even force a summoner away from him. And Amazing doing the Raves. A bit questionable. He could have rushed instantly all the way over there and actually stopped Shook from taking this blue buff. Or at least tried to stop him. Instead, he did the Raves. Now Shook got this double buff. So he's actually saving pretty much the entire early game for himself now.
I just wonder whether he was doing those Raves. He was keeping his eye on that ward and thinking he hasn't passed it yet. So my blue buff is safe. Maybe I've just got in and got lucky, but a very quick blue buff stole away by Shook there. So all even. Everybody's got their own blue buffs once again. Everybody's got their own red buffs once again because Amazing is just doing that right now. Let's reset and talk about this bottom lane.
Yeah, so Copenhagen Wolves are more than happy to get this 2v2 scenario because the poke from Karma early on, the damage from Caitlyn early on is so much better than at least what Nami can bring here. You need to land your bubbles over and over. But whoa, going on YoungBuck!
Flash Rune Prison. Oh, Shook does not land his kick this time around. YoungBuck doing a good flash to avoid the damage there. That would have been a very dead Mundo had that Sonic Wave landed.
Flash used by YoungBuck, but 2 flashes used here from Alliance side, and he escapes. He stays nearby. Teleport is not ready though, but Nyph taking a lot of damage.
A lot of poke on towards Nyph in that bottom lane. He may have to back away. He's going to chug down that total biscuit that he's got on him. YoungBuck caught out, and Shook going very deep on this one. He's going to keep that damage down. If we can get the Rune Prison down, 1Q does enough, and Wickd gets first blood.
So YoungBuck decided to stay around because his teleport wasn't ready. So if he had backed off here, he would have to run all the way. He would lose all these minions. So he stayed, and Alliance just went aggressive, caught him out here and killed him.
Bottom lane is still getting poked out. Unlimited doing some great damage with that inner flame. The Q of Karma right now. And Forgiven is getting a lot of free farm. You can see 34 to 19. That mini wave's going to get pushed in, but there is only 5 minions, sorry, that is going to get picked up by Tabzz. If he hits every single one, he's falling heavily behind in CS.
And there's 0% lifesteal on Tabzz. So just check these runes. There's no lifesteal quins onto Tabzz here. So the only sustain is obviously from his Dawn's Blade here, his Master Race, and then from the fact that Nami can heal him. But whoa, Froggen going aggressive, cowTard just dancing around.
cowTard dancing around. He's going to get exhausted by Froggen there. Does manage to land another lay waste. Good trade, but that was another summoner spell used. cowTard didn't even bother. Had that Ignite available, but he was happy to just juke around.
Well, if there is one champion Froggen knows everything about, then it's Karthus. He knows every single matchup in the game with Karthus. It doesn't even matter if it's Karthus against some support or something. He will know the matchup. He will know how to play it. So he's getting a lot of farm here early, and we also saw him actually put a lot of pressure onto cowTard.
cowTard, whether he knew it or not, plays it safe, goes back and teleports back to base. He did just have Shook giving some vision. I didn't know he was there, so simply got away with that one by pure luck. The fact that he had enough money to go back, get that chalice, and a pink ward.
And a pink ward early on here. So, some vision control for Copenhagen Wolves is the plan, of course. Shook just went back to shop here. Didn't actually buy any wards because didn't have enough gold. So he won't be able to put down a pink ward. So they won't be able to spot out the Evelynn unless they go in deep with the trinket wards, plant them on the Wraith camp or the Wolf camp so they can actually see him do these camps and then they know where Evelynn is. Otherwise they won't have any vision. That's where you really need to be careful.
You see Froggen going back in himself that tier and a ruby crystal. And get that catalyst underway as one starts stacking out that tier as early as possible. Amazing, sneaking in towards this bottom half, and can they stack up? Can they try and push in? cowTard's coming down. This is going to be maybe a 4-man. No, cowTard's just going to use that pink ward to cover it out. Shook is there in case they die.
But it's so hard to kill a lane like this when there is exhaust menace here, but they're going in!
They managed to land the Aqua Prism, but it's still not enough. And look at that, Amazing quickly coming in. Inner Flame turning that back on its head. And the counter, and that's actually taken Alliance low enough that they may keep pushing.
And that's the thing we actually didn't touch on yet. The fact that both Ryze and Karthus, of course, buys it here. You mentioned yourself, he just went back to buy it here. They need to stack it up. So their power spike is going to be delayed. They need to go to this 20-25 minute mark where the tier is fully stacked, and that's where the power spike starts coming in. So this buys a lot of time for Copenhagen Wolves where they should be stronger in this mid game. Of course, Dr. Mundo himself is not he's not the best laner. He needs some time to be very tanky, but at least Lulu should be able to do a lot.
Shook trying to get on towards that blue buff. Amazing trying to steal her away, but Shook gets in and manages to out-smite Amazing on that one. He needed that, but that does, of course, mean it's not going to be given across to Froggen once again.
Yeah, but it also means at least the Alliance will get 2 buffs. They managed to pick it up here because Amazing at level 1 decided to do the Raves and didn't actually get into Bluebuck in time. So Shook been doing a very good job, again, of getting the best out of a bad situation and at least picking up the buffs for himself. Yes, it didn't go to Froggen, but with the tier, with of course his skills farming away, he should be fine mana-wise.
Absolutely, you don't want to be giving the blue buff across to Evelynn. Will be a problem. Double buffed up Shook, see whether he's going to go aggressive. Amazing, certainly looking to, but there is a pink ward in that Tribush which spots him and cowTard out very early on. Wickd needs to start making tracks here though. Hasn't got flash available. Is going to get slowed down by the ultimate of Amazing, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough. He should get on towards his turret. Now we're going to see Shook coming in there. It's a deep, deep dive, this one. He will go down to it. The tower hit's coming in. It's going to land on Amazing. I'm not too sure whether Shook can follow up on this one. There is the ultimate available for Froggen, remember, but he's just not low enough.
Yeah, no, Amazing is not low enough. cowTard could also stuck around and just shielded him if the ultimate was there. But look at Froggen. He wants to fight now.
Sneaky, lands that late waste, forces cowTard away. Didn't go for the...
Look at the minions in mid lane. He's just denying him the entire wave.
Didn't use the wall of pain on towards him. Just going to keep putting that late waste down. Doesn't want to burn that mana down. And as you mentioned, clears the wave away from him. If there's anyone that knows anything about the tiniest little mechanical plays, it is Froggen. Being inside his mind, I don't know where he pulls it from. And
he's level 8 already here, so actually pulling it in XP. He's gonna get level 9, of course, before cowTard, who just hit the level 8 now. And also with him denying the CS and with cowTard roaming up there. So Froggen is looking to stay here and farm. He's already doing a great job farming. We've seen him before back in Season 2, of course, when he would always go in and farm Wolf Camp, the Rave Camps. Poor Snoopy would get absolutely nothing. And let's see if it's gonna be the same here with Shook.
Well, we'll see whether he keeps that one up once he gets that catalyst. It was made a lot harder for the mid laners, but they have started to adapt and do it once again now, as we've noticed in the 2014 season. cowTard with that Glitter Lance is starting to fall behind in farm. You can see 92 to 71, as you just mentioned. More importantly, the bottom lane. Forgiven is dominating that in terms of CS. 90 to 60 right now in that bottom lane. It's huge. Shook's going to walk in, going to find himself a pink ward straight away. He will clear that ward out, but YoungBuck's going to be safe this time around.
Yeah, YoungBuck knows he's there, of course. Always annoying to lose your pink ward. It's 100 gold you invested into it. It's now gone from Shook to pick it up. And yeah, the bottom lane. This karma early on, the fact there's no lifesteal means they can just poke all the time. And they're so safe because of the summoners. The heal is so strong when it comes to ganks. So they're just doing the same thing they did the last game. Continue pushing, don't even care. Amazing now, staying around. cowTard also wants to join in.
Four-man stack. All of the Copenhagen walls rotating around. We do see Froggen making his way down here, but are you going to be too late? Amazing catches on towards Nyph. Nyph's taken very low. Has to use that wave, but it's not going to be enough. He gets taken down. Amazing gets himself a kill. Froggen coming around the side there. We do have Shook coming in as well, but they realize no tower. It is a dangerous, dangerous situation to rush into.
So yeah, early tower here for Copenhagen Wolves, of course, because it's not a lane swap. They won't be able to push it up here, but they can actually start the dragon. They're very healthy. Only 3 members from Alliance here.
Remember, Shook is spotted out by that ward. They took 5 out of 6 dragons in the last game. They started off. Last time it was 6 minutes though, that first dragon. It will be 11 minutes time this time around. We do see Unlimited running great interference, and it is a dragon and the chunk of gold and experience for the Wolves.
And again, Froggen just trying to zone cowTard away. He's losing these minions to the turret once again, but at least now he gets in there. The big difference here compared to last game when it comes to the dragon is that Alliance actually get the time on the first one, so they don't have to give up the next one because they have absolutely no idea when it spawns. They had the ward, they got the timer, but Copenhagen Wolves though, they're just keeping the pressure. Rotating mid, multiple members want to try and push it down.
They're going to try and keep on pressuring in there. Remember, cowTard can put pressure down. Oh, Shook coming round. He's spotted out Forgiven. Good 90 caliber net coming out from Forgiven there. That saved his life. Shook still trying to land that kick.
Too deep,
Instead just uses it. Shook goes way too deep. The bubble lands, but only on cowTard. There's no follow-up. And Alliance again caught out.
Multiple members from Copenhagen Wolves around the area. Tabzz is down in the bottom lane. Froggen was staying in the mid lane. I'm not sure. You just already use your flash and Lee Sin, and yet you actually connect with your Q and you jump all the way into the jungle of Copenhagen Wolves. Very strange play here from Shook. Very, I wouldn't say desperate, but at least he tried to make something happen and he just backfired.
Something we really should note out here is that the loser of this game, if Alliance were to lose this one, they would go in towards the summer promotion playoff match, which would be the loser of this game versus the loser of the next match, which is Gambit versus Rocket. We could have a horrible situation where 3rd and 4th could face off in that relegation match. It could be crucial for them. That's all going to be happening tomorrow. It's 3 best-of-3s tomorrow. Huge, huge week of games here in the LCS in Europe and North America, of course, which will follow on the Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Just imagine if you, before the season, went out and said, I think Alliance and Gambit are going to fight for the spot of dropping down to relegation.
Crazy.
People said, yeah, Lee, sorry, you're getting old. That's it.
Well, they'd be right. True. That's for sure. Blue buff goes across to Froggen. He's going to pick that one up. We do see Alliance really stacking against this, but let's not discount. They all have the tiers. They have to stack them up. They're not going to be strong early on.
No, and that's also why you see both Froggen and Wickd just stay in the lane and farm. Amazing though, staying around here. You want to try gank onto Froggen. Very hard though, because again, also Froggen, very defensive position, just putting down his Q and then backing up a little bit every single time. So he's very hard to gank here. But yeah, we see passive lanes from Alliance because they want to farm up. And then we see Shook trying to make plays, but just not being in a position to do it. Also because cowTard has been roaming around a little bit more on the map. And of course due to the fact that bottom lane has been losing.
So far we do see Alliance trying to put some pressure back on this bottom turret. This is a lane that doesn't need to delay. They don't need to wait. They can keep the towers pushed, but they've not been able to. Forgiven is reacting every time. He's keeping that CS going perfectly. He's got himself, what, 120, 130 plus after this wave, except he missed one there. Never good to keep your eye on him and then see him watch just as you're trying to sing his praise. But he is keeping that 20 CS advantage. He's held over Tabzz throughout the early phases of this game.
So, another thing to point out now. Rod of Ages picked up onto Ryze. The core item now. Tier and Rod of Ages, they're both going to stack up. He's going to get stronger and stronger. Rod of Ages on Froggen should be ready very soon. He might actually even go back to base and pick it up now. So he's going to be in the same situation as Wickd. Both key items now. Stacking up is there. And they're just waiting now. Waiting to go to this late game point where they can start the team fights and be very strong with both the AP carries.
Yeah, from that point, it's going to be very dangerous. If the Wolves do get themselves caught into one of those Alcoves, into the Baron or the Dragon, later on against the Ryze, against the Karthus, it is going to be bad times, that's for sure. They can actually explode them where they stand. As it is, it's going to be a blue buff for the cowTard, and the Wolves continue to keep the advantage over Alliance in this game.
So talking about what you just said, and now Rod of Ages actually picked up on Froggen, so both Ryze and Karthus got the Rod of Ages early here, but as you just said, if Copenhagen was fighting the Baron pit or something, it's very bad for them. You can then turn around and say Copenhagen was fighting the open. With this mobile comp, it's very good for them, and that's where they can win the fights.
Oh, cowTard using that speed, trying to catch on towards Shook. Look at the burst there. That's a single picks of Glitterlance on towards him and shreds his health down. That's going to be an early warning sign for Wickd as well. And he's been dived on the turret once already. Don't think he fancies it a second time.
There's an ultimate on Karthus now. Rank 2 already, so he's going to do quite a lot of damage with it, so that's why they're a bit scared to dive him actually in the spectre of, whoa. Unlimited taking a lot of damage.
Unlimited going to have to flash away from that one. Tabzz using that culling to try and keep him low there. Meanwhile, Froggen using that wall of pain. He's going to be face checking in towards Amazing. He's not too worried about that though. He's going to walk back towards it. Shook clearing out ping ward dominance in towards it. Dragon is up in a minute's time. That's an important ping ward position.
And actually a little bit surprising. The last blue buff which came up where Froggen actually managed to pick it up, the Copenhagen Wolves didn't try and fight for it because they were stronger in the bottom lane. Of course with Lulu here in the mid lane, so much early mid game power and Amazing on Evelynn could sneak in, so they could actually set up the Knight from Froggen. But because Froggen is doing so well in the mid lane, they didn't feel confident doing it, and also due to the fact that Tabzz and Nyph now in the bottom lane are actually starting to fight back.
They want to try and put some pressure on towards this tower, of course. They know the Dragon will be up shortly. That was some good burst though onto Tabzz. And as Ace in the Hole is going to go out there trying to knock him low. Shook uses his body to deflect that one. At the moment, they didn't manage to get a pick. They didn't keep the pressure on. It's still going Copenhagen Wolves' way.
Well, for now at least, remember taking time bombs, both Ryze here. And oh, teleport bottom and the wave.
Teleport straight in there. It's Wickd. He catches the Rune Prison on towards Amazing. He's going to get followed up, but that's a very early damage. However, it's taken them low. 20 seconds until Dragon. It may just be enough to keep them at bay here. They're going to 4-man push onto this tower. I'm not sure if Copenhagen Wolves want to fight it. They're going to try and defend it. They're going to go around. YoungBuck going aggressive once again. We're seeing cowTard's going to be charging down that river. Froggen is giving chase. There's no turret to back away from for Alliance. They have to fight this one. Amazing tries to sneak around the side. That exhaust is going to run out, and they are going to come around. Oh, cowTard's been singled out here. He's going to have to flash out of that one. And this is still a close fight. The Dragon is now up. And I'm not sure neither team want to start this one.
Well, both of them are fairly low on certain members here. Amazing is very low. He doesn't even have ultimate. He won't be able to just run into the face of Alliance. So they're just poking around now, cutting around this Dragon here, for now at least. Good disengage though by Alliance down the bottom lane.
They could 5-man turn into the mid. You see Tabzz in that mid lane at the moment, trying to clear out their way, push it in towards the tower. Meanwhile, that dragon is getting taken lower and lower. They need to get involved in this one. Shook tries to come in. Shook so low. We're going to see Froggen going deep on this one. There's going to be the bubble on towards cowTard, taken so low. The culling doesn't land at all, but he's forced Copenhagen Wolves again away from this one. The dragon's sat there flapping his wings, regenerating health. Not sure what the hell is going on, but everybody steps away.
Yeah, this is one of the weirdest team fights I've seen around the dragon. Like both teams, they start something, then they back out, then they start something, they back out. It does mean, however, dragon is still alive. Some of Copenhagen Wolves are still around this area here. cowTard in the mid lane, clearing out the wave. So Copenhagen Wolves actually split up, and Shook is coming from base.
You cannot start the dragon, guys.
Oh,
they are not letting you do it. cowTard again taken low, and this fight's gone on so long that Froggen's ulti might come off cooldown at this rate. Again, YoungBuck still sticking around. The lifesteal from Alliance. Everybody from the Wolves is regen health. cowTard's still yet to go back to base, so the rest of Alliance are backing off, and the Wolves, they're sneaking in to take it.
They're actually sneaking here. There's a ward though, so Alliance, they will know it, but Wickd recalled. Nyph is far away, so they're actually gonna give up the dragon here. So Copenhagen Wolves staying around actually meant they could pick up the dragon now, but still very weird team fights here.
They keep their objective control going though, and that's another 2 out of 2 dragons for the Wolves. Blue buff not given to Froggen, and I think that was just simply the tick of the lifesteal from Lee Sin there that Shook got the blue buff.
It's just the blue buff hitting Shook one more time, taking the damage, and that's it. Again though, Froggen does a very good job keeping his mana up with the tier, of course, with Rod of Ages, and every time you kill minions, he will get some mana back. So.
But that's not what you want it for. You want
it for the cooldown.
Yeah, of course. You need it for that ultimate. I mean, that's a massively important ultimate for Froggen.
You want it for the cooldown, and you want it so you can farm the jungle camps. We actually saw him invest a lot of mana into the raves here. So that's, of course, it is a big deal. I was just trying to save Shook a little bit.
Well, it wasn't Shook's fault. He just stood there. It was
more,
Wickd trying to go aggressive here. He's got to be careful. Amazing's around the side. He's got that Agony's Embrace available. YoungBuck going to pop that ultimate. He's going in towards the tower, trying to bait him in there. Shook's instead kicked YoungBuck in towards that tower. Here comes the Karthus ultimate. It's going to come out, but it's not going to be enough damage. Now they're going to try and turn onto Amazing, but he pops speed and runs.
So 2 Karthus ultimates used. Didn't actually do anything so far in the game, because Copenhagen Wolves are doing so well of just always staying healthy enough, just backing out at the right times. But there are 4 members up here in this top lane. They want to get it.
5 members as Forgiven actually tries to catch in there. You're going to see Alliance stepping away from this one. It's another turret, but meanwhile down that bottom lane, Tabzz is still pushing. They've left him completely alone, and he's going to keep getting damage on towards that inner turret now. The Wolves do take themselves that top turret. That's going to be another one down for them, so it's 2-1 in favor of them so far, but Tabzz, he can keep pushing while they have vision of the Wolves in his top lane.
They need to be really careful. He actually cowTard the only member staying around. Now he backs off. But Copenhagen Wolves invested actually quite a lot in getting this top lane turret. Also because they want to be able to punish Wickd when he stays to farm here. Immobile Ryze, very easy to catch out. If he's stuck in the middle of the lane with no turret, Amazing can of course just sneak behind him. Then YoungBuck collapses onto him with the slow, and they can just chase him down. So with this turret gone, it makes it a bit riskier for Wickd to stay in farm, which is of course what they want to target. And now they can just rotate to the mid lane.
Froggen is almost stacked out now. It's just a couple more shots away. There we go. Stacks into the Cerberus Embrace. Wicked's a long way off this one, but that's going to be another middle turret. And Copenhagen Wolves' rotations have been fantastic so far in the quarterfinals.
And also the whole comms they build around is meant to rotate easily around the map. Of course, Karma, you got the Lulu with the speed ups, and then you have a lot of range. So you have a lot of potential to poke and hit the turrets here, siege potential. So they build these comms around just rotating fast on the map and getting these turrets, and they do. Now they just need to defend this mid turret.
Well, they just showed how quick they can get away from that one. Lulu with that speed buff on himself. And again, Karma on speed buff. Just everybody disengaging. 4 members of Alliance trying to make a pick, trying to make a play to get and push in that mid turret, but they can't catch the Wolves.
And they don't really have a comp to actually kill turrets. You have Tabzz who's going to hit it. Karthus is not going to do much onto the turrets here, at least for now. So they actually only got Tabzz to really go in and really do a lot of damage. Of course, with Ryze building a lot of mana as well, he doesn't do too much damage on the turrets. So Alliance with their composition, you can't really just siege down the turrets. It's very hard for them. They need team fights.
You have to have those team fights. And I'm pretty sure Copenhagen Wolves are going to stay well away from the team fights. Let's see if cowTard gets it. He does. That's his blue buff to take away. And the Wolves are all going to back off and buy here. They may be setting up to try and make a play, try and push in. We should mention how this farm is going, because Tabzz has been doing a lot on his own down this bottom wave. That sort of caught him back up with Forgiven. But Froggen is powering ahead of cowTard right now.
Yeah, he's getting so far into this Karthus. Of course, some of it is the small Ryze and the small wolves, which doesn't give the same amount of gold, but still, he's getting a lot of farm here, and he will be very, very strong. Once he completes the death cap, you really see a power spike on Karthus, of course.
Well, a history lesson for everyone out there. Froggen, of course, is the... used to be the main farmer, the #1 farmer, honestly. Back in Season 2, he set the record, but it's been broken many times over by many members of Korea and China. But he set those records on Karthus. He was the biggest farmer. He used to go around the raids, the wolves, everything available to him. He used to keep that farm ticking away. And this is stepping into the old CLG EU style of play. Late farming pressure, keep the game going late. And as it is right now, the wolves are not pushing this game fast enough to get it from going that late, and that could be a problem for them.
Could be a problem, and we might actually see a bit like last game, where the Copenhagen Wolves just slowly push down, disengage whenever something about to happen, force objectives, force the Baron. So it means it can be a bit of a long, drawn-out game, but also means for both teams exactly, if you get engaged or if one team makes a mistake, they can really punish it.
A lot of punishment on Tabzz. The ace in the hole gets through, and that's going to force him away from the tower. That was good pressure from the Wolves. They may try and capitalize on this one and keep pushing that mid turret.
And the wave clear from Alliance is actually the calling here from Tabzz, and then Froggen, he needs to, with his skills, to just kill the minions every time they come in. So he won't be able to instant clear wave. It should mean for Copenhagen Wolves, they can get a few hits on the turret or a few hits on the champions every time they come in with the wave. Now also with the cannon.
He's going to have to put himself out there once again, that defile down. Clear the wave instead. Wall of Pain, they try and turn aggressive. The bubble again. Not landing. That speed boost, that disengage that the Wolves have is causing problems for this composition that Alliance have, and it's a blue buff stolen away this time. Will go to cowTard, and that's another blue buff that Froggen will not get.
But the mid lane here, actually 4 members from Alliance pushing down. The wave is there, so they're going to get a lot of damage here. Will Copenhagen Wolves try and fight, or just... No, seems actually Alliance just backs away.
Scared stiff, don't want to engage, gonna keep away from him. Instead, they want to try and create a play. Tabzz is the one going aggressive here. He's the one out the front, and that may be a problem. You can see the Pixie being thrown down by cowTard. Quick poke on towards cowTard, on towards Tabzz, sorry. Forces him away. Dragon is up once again, and I think we're going to have this merry dance all over again.
And again, Alliance is in the mid lane, so they can push it down. It means Copenhagen will start the Dragon. Alliance actually don't want to teamfight this one. They just want to push and get this turret and trade it.
They have to try and take this mid lane turret down. It's such a pivotal tower for really any team. Oh, Nyph getting taken low here. He's got out. He's going to get exploded. Ace in the hole, sneaks way through. They do manage to try and counter this one. Going to run for it. Tabzz caught out this time. Tries to dash away. This is all being caught out. Remember, they're running in towards a Karthus, though. That's a dangerous thing to do. YoungBuck going to get taken low. There's the defile going down. Froggen thinking to turn this one around. Wickd has to flash out. The exhaust being used. He's getting taken low. Forgiven trying to get some kills on towards him, but Froggen chases on towards him. He gets the AD carry down. They're going to try and turn this fight on its head. Can they catch towards him? Shook goes very deep on this one. Realizes his mistake. Instead kicks YoungBuck away from it. Tabzz and everybody trying to keep really their distance. Froggen, again, so low on mana, but trying to keep the picks on towards him. Has got that Requiem available if he wants to use it, but nobody's really low enough, so he's going to hold the trigger for now.
Whew. Just like last game, Copenhagen Wolves pick up the first kill in fight, decide to chase, and then they go over aggressive. We had Forgiven flashing over the wall, and then Froggen and Tabzz just turn around and say, okay, and go straight to him and just kill him. So they actually trade 1 for 1 here. Turret went in favor of Alliance, Dragon went in favor of Copenhagen Wolves, and then trade kills for kills. So Copenhagen Wolves again showing very good team fights here, very good catching potential onto someone like Nyph. A bit weird, Alliance didn't actually block the ultimate, just let him die from it, but still, Copenhagen Wolves need to be careful that they don't get too over-aggressive in these fights, because Forgiven, he didn't have to die here.
And you've got to think, if they chase into those enclosed spaces, that's exactly where Alliance want to fight.
Yeah,
that's the positions they want. Because
Ryze,
the Wolves are trying to chase in towards it, and you said Ryze and Froggen, you can see Froggen, as soon as he got onto Forgiven, he just popped. There's nothing he could do about it, he was just caught out of position. So, Alliance are starting to gain some power in this game. You feel it may well start turning into their favor. It's really down to the Copenhagen Wolves. They always have that shaky period every game, and they need to make sure that they don't give this away to Alliance too much by maybe sticking around too long on an objective like a pink ward, which seems to be happening here. Unlimited in trouble. Wickid's going to try and chase down. He has got YoungBuck coming around, but Unlimited going to get caught out. There's the Rune Prison. Wickid pops his ultimate. Does not quite get enough. doesn't follow through the damage. I think they thought they'd got him already nice and easy, but he didn't explode.
So he actually managed to get away here. Flash was used by Shook. That's a lot of the engage actually from Alliance here, so he won't be up for the next one. He needs to then ward jump and kick someone back for the next fight. At least, looking at these fights though, I like the fact that Shook and Alliance want to try and set something up because they feel confident of catching out targets and then fight against them, and don't just want to let Copenhagen Wolves run around the map like they please.
So the ward control fight continues. Nyph gets back down there, and it's dangerous play when you go for this pink ward, especially when that was the deepest ward he had actually. And you can see the two carries off above him. cowTard speeds himself up, tries to get in. Ace in the hole being used once again on Nyph, and that is taking half the hit points off that poor support.
But Nyph really needs a talisman as well, because they need this speed up when they actually want to go in. When they land the wall from Froggen, and then they speed up the team and get in the face of Copenhagen Wolves. So he really needs to complete it before the big engages can start from Alliance. But I do feel a bit sorry for him, because playing Nami against a very mobile team is so annoying, because your bubbles are just going to miss left and right.
Yeah, it actually makes you look worse player than you are, I would say. It's fair to say. But, Grain, deep stuff from Shook there, trying to go aggressive, spots out the fact that Unlimited is there. They do know, of course, that cowTard is in the bottom lane at the moment, so Alliance are trying to group up for this one. We're seeing cowTard. He's going to back off right now, and I don't think Alliance are going to gain anything from this.
So Copenhagen Wolves is giving Alliance a lot of time to farm up here. They haven't been doing anything on the map for the last at least 5 minutes. And it means for Alliance, they're happily just waiting out. Wickd, of course, now. Both his items are stacked out. Froggen's, both items are stacked out. So they're really getting to the point where they're going to be stronger and stronger. And I believe they actually have Void Staff onto Froggen here next item. It means also his damage onto the tanks is going to be very high.
So Dragon is up in a while. It's another just shy of 2 minutes time. More importantly, the blue buff could be coming available in a moment, and that is just spawned. That's what Froggen needs. Froggen needs to get his butt hauled down to that blue buff and pick it up. He's not been able to get it so far in this match, and this time around.
Or will he do
it? Here we go, the tension. Oh,
yeah,
he gets it. So, first blue buff for Froggen at the 29-minute mark. And now we see Copenhagen Wolves are pushing in the mid lane. Actually, Nyph got out. We're not quite seeing a view of it. Taken very low there. Again, this time Ace in the hole once again from Forgiven, keeping that pressure down.
And Tabzz is pushing down the bottom lane, forcing YoungBuck to move down. Oh, a lot of damage onto Froggen.
Froggen shield being used out there. Has to get away from this one. Safeguard from Shook is enough to keep him alive, but now he's in trouble. Oh, gets caught out by a picks there. cowTard doing the damage, and that's going to force him away. Tabzz in trouble. Teleport coming down. That's going to go towards YoungBuck, but that's going to leave the mid lane exposed. And now everybody's collapsing on towards him. Look at cowTard motoring down that river, using that speed buff, trying to get on towards him. Tabzz is the focus target. Glitterlance is what they want to try and get on towards him, but I think he's just about outrun them. Unlimited with that inner flame. Can he get it around?
Oh.
They're going to try and turn the fight around. There's going to be the Requiem. It's not going to be enough. It may take down on towards YoungBuck though. The pressure's still coming. The rest of the Wolves close in. The rest of Alliance close in. They're all chasing. They're all pouncing. They're not too sure of the target. They're going for the biggest, chunkiest target in the game, which is Mundo. Not too sure why.
Probably the only one they could actually get to here. Unlimited was coming around the side. He could provide more speed buff. cowTard was kiting with the team, so they tried to catch on to someone. First it was cowTard actually, and he had to pop his ultimate. He survived the Requiem from Froggen, and he was far away. He couldn't even join the fight, so there wasn't actually any slows here. It does mean, however, Dragon for Alliance, so they actually get something for the troubles, and once again, Copenhagen Wolves are letting Alliance control the map at the moment.
That's only Alliance's second Dragon of the series and the first one of this game. There's a big stack in that top wave. That would be a nice juicy target for Alliance to try and push in towards, but instead they're going to wipe out this mid lane, and look at that. Tabzz going aggressive on that support, Unlimited on Karma. Trying to put some punishment down on towards him. cowTard shows himself in the top, but Alliance are not going to capitalize. The Dragon was enough.
Tabzz been playing very aggressive this game. Like every single time there's a chance, he just dashes forward, gets a few hit and backs off. Even though he doesn't have vision on where the rest of the members are for Copenhagen Wolves here. So he's playing very aggressive. Obviously been doing a very good job catching up in farm because he fell far behind early on. And now he's actually only 20 CS behind.
And speaking of farm, it's going to be maybe a problem. We're seeing that the fact that cowTard is starting to have to separate. He's having to start going and wiping out the waves, which actually is probably something Forgiven would like to do himself. But he's having to play a chasing game. He's chasing Froggen in terms of CS, and that is not something I would wish on anyone.
Nope, definitely not. And playing against the late game Ryze and late game Karthus is not something I would wish for anyone either. because it gets so scary with the amount of damage they can put down. We need to see how Copenhagen Wolves handle this late game team fights, because we will go to a late game. I mean, there is nothing really showing that we're gonna end this game fast, because both teams are just moving around the map, farming up, nobody's really pushing for anything, and wow.
That was Tabzz again, going very aggressive. This time around on towards cowTard, and well, they're going to try and take advantage of this one. Froggen is slightly caught out. Nyph panicking, using that ultimate there. Copenhagen Wolves all disengaged from that one alliance. They're going to have to defend this mid turret because YoungBuck is also pushing the bot wave.
But this should mean the turret for Copenhagen Wolves, at least a lot of pressure though, but cowTard might be caught out.
Completely separated. Wickd gets on towards him and he gets exploded. They finally get him down. Somebody still needs to deal with YoungBuck. He's pushing that bot wave. He's only got a small stack of minions, but he will do good damage to these turrets.
Let's get a few hits on the turret here, but cowTard caught out of position. He did the same thing in the last game as well in Yasuo, where he walked down towards the lines, got hooked by Nyph, and then he was the target. Same thing here, he split up from the team. Good bubble now, and good, of course, engage from Alliance onto him with the Rune Prison also from Wickd, locking him down, killing him, and stopping the whole push. This was the time where Copenhagen Wolves should actually have gotten a turret, because the wave was gone from Nyph, the ultimate was gone from Tabzz, so there wasn't much wave clear, there wasn't much engage potential for them, and because cowTard got caught out, they just had to back off.
Once that wall of pain goes down, you're in trouble, and the fact that Flash was burnt as well in that fight. He will be back up next time around, but this is showing that Alliance are not down and out in this game. They are certainly have the power. If they catch someone out, they will go down very, very quickly, especially if you see the Karthus and Ryze combine and do that damage. Tabzz has, as you mentioned, been pretty damn aggressive in this game, trying to burn out a number of things. Mainly, it was the Flash that was burnt out from cowTard, from that Cullen, where Tabzz almost died himself.
That's the thing, I mean, it might backfire for him, or if you continue doing it, it actually works for him. People might praise him and say that was absolutely beautiful play. So, playing this aggressive here, as long as he at least feels that he knows where the rest of Copenhagen Wolves is on the map, so he feels safe doing it, it's alright. But it might actually backfire. We saw before in the mid lane, he almost died from it.
Well, we've seen it in the early phases of Alliance's team fights when we saw a couple of questionable flashes, I believe. I definitely remember some of those Dragon fights who were like, what is Tabzz doing right now? But he's turned it around. He's had actually a great season despite the poor start. Amazing. He's trying to sneak around. This blue buff, it's been contested the entire game. And again, he's in there. He's trying to take this one away. They have got vision this time around, which is why the scene coming in. But I'm not too sure if he can get away from this one. Shook trying not to smite it out here. They really want to get this onto Karthus, onto Froggen. They may have to go heavy and fight for it. There's the smite. It's Shook again. But this time, no, it was amazing to smite it away. And poor Froggen, he's just been starved of that blue buff.
Starved all game long now. So Copenhagen was doing a very good job at least going in, removing the blue buff away from Froggen. Dragon is going to spawn in 1 minute and 40 seconds, so that's not going to be anything for now. So that's why we actually see Copenhagen was do the same. Go back, clear the wave, and then run around the map. And so Alliance do the same.
So they're continuing this pattern, they're continuing the farm, they're continuing to go late. Does this favor Alliance? The fact that they have those tiers now stacked, they have those ability items starting to build up, starting to be huge. Obviously, it's very much down to who catches each other out, but surely Alliance, this is their game now. They're starting to move to late phase.
Damage-wise, I love the setup from Alliance here. But mobility-wise, the Copenhagen Wolves one will always be able to disengage unless someone gets caught up by a bubble from Nyph or get caught up by the snare from Wickd here. So for Copenhagen Wolves side, as long as they don't get caught in a straight 5v5 fight in the middle of the cowTard. Actually going in.
Teleport coming in, YoungBuck coming in behind them. Wickd's also going to join the party. cowTard off the side. The exhaust was enough to keep him out of this one. Froggen trying to do what he can. But that was a sloppy engage and a sloppy fight from both of them. YoungBuck had teleported in there. He's going to get caught out, and look at the damage they have. The Aqua Prison lands, but the Wild Growth having to be used. That is one gigantic Mundo, and he's going to try and stomp his way back in there. The ultimate running just regenerates all of the health. So much burn from both teams there for that fight.
And this team fight was a perfect example of why predicting who got the best comp late game is impossible, because it was engaged from Copenhagen Wolves, but as soon as they engaged, they just started walking backwards because Froggen flashed into the face. They just ran away from him. He couldn't do anything with it. Yes, okay, they did absolutely no damage to anyone on the Alliance side, but they weren't actually at risk of dying either. So these team fights are going to be so much about hiding around and then the Alliance trying to find the target.
some big burst damage coming out there. Tabzz and Shook taking some heavy hits in the face there. And the Wolves, they're going to take advantage. They're rotating around. They're going to take themselves another dragon. Amazing should be able to solo this one down. He's going to get the help. But meanwhile, YoungBuck, he's tanking out that turret, giving time for Forgiven. Lions have just come back from base. They have got themselves regenerated, got that health back in, and Tabzz goes aggressive. They're going in towards Forgiven. They're going to try and explode him. Wild Growth comes out. There's going to be the Wild Wave coming through. The Culling doing damage. Karthus ultimate Requiem should be enough. It does finally take someone down. Now YoungBuck caught out. That ultimate is still running away though, and the regen is just so huge on Mundo.
But they can go Baron here. Karthus is one of the mages in the game with the most damage onto Baron, so they can take it down very fast. Amazing, he recalled after the dragon, so he needs to run all the way up here. This should be a Baron for Alliance.
They're going to try and take it down as quick as possible. They're buying time. They're trying to delay here. They may have delayed enough. Remember, YoungBuck's already used that ultimate. And Limited still just trying to keep around, keeping that inner flame poke. cowTard trying to get in, trying to keep the poke down. The Glitter Lance on towards them. The Baron almost down. It's down to 2,000 hit points. They're going to try and come in. Alliance close it down. There's a lot of damage. And we're going to see Amazing trying to come in around the side, trying to get on towards the Agony's Embrace. They do chase down on towards Unlimited. He gets caught out. Shook trying to catch on towards cowTard. Does get it again now and gets himself another kill. YoungBuck, he has no ultimate, gets kicked straight into Alliance, and Alliance clip him down, and they're going to run through to the base.
So Alliance, at the start of all this, got the pick they wanted. A flash snare from Wickd onto Forgiven, who was left by himself actually. Amazing was doing the dragon, nobody else was nearby to help him out, so he flash snare, he was overextended. Alliance got the pick, killed him, or chased him on then, got enough damage so the Requiem could kill him, and then they could just rush straight for the Baron here, pick up the Baron, pick up kills, take the turrets here. Well played.
Well played. Well, they got themselves the inner turret. They're still very low on health, though. This is a risky inhib turret. They're going to get it down. They're going to go for the inhib. You can see the rest of the Wolves are spawning now. They will be back up, but you can see Alliance. They've hit and run. They're going to rotate towards the top inner.
So twice in this game now, Forgiven's been the target for Alliance because he's been the one overextending. They killed him, delayed the game the first time. Now they killed him and got a huge advantage in this game.
Giant minion wave coming in. That's going to be the third inner turret going down. It's going to be the top one this time around. The bottom one's the final one standing. But Alliance have turned this game on its head. Now 6-3 up in turrets. And more importantly, they have the Baron buff on them for another 2 minutes.
They have the pressure onto the mid lane here. If they can force Copenhagen Wolves to try and defend at a turret, they're going to be clustered together. So at least now Alliance won't be. It will be harder for Copenhagen Wolves to just kite them around like we saw in the mid lane team fight. Of course, they can run back to the base and then rejoin here. But if they're fighting in the base, there's less room for Copenhagen Wolves to move around it.
Well, that engagement, that fight, everything that turned around turned Froggen's blasting wand into a Rabadon's death cap. His power has just spiked right off the chart, and that's going to be a problem. Blue buff went to Tabzz. Well, Froggen just didn't care about it anymore, obviously.
Probably, yeah.
Just like, I haven't had it all game, what's the point? I don't need it. Whatever. Not too worried about that one. YoungBuck, he's pushing top wave. He hasn't got teleport available. It will be off cooldown shortly, but this means Alliance, they've got some free time on this bottom turret. That's going to be another inner turret. All of the inners now down. They keep on pushing towards the inhibitor.
And Alliance is also at the point now where Ryze and Shook is so tanky that the lack of damage from Copenhagen Wolves in these straight-up fights is really going to be a big factor, because who are they actually going to kill? They don't really have burst to anyone.
Tabzz standing on a trap and taking a lot of damage. I'm going to say if that ace in the hole gets through, then Alliance are setting up Tabzz for something that he shouldn't be getting. But instead, they're going to wait off at the side. See the shockwave coming through. Instead, they've caught YoungBuck out there. Wickd still putting the burst down. Froggen using that defile to keep him at bay, keeping that wave clear. Shook's gone deep on this one. Tries to kick cowTard in instead. He has to get out, but look at the damage. YoungBuck, Wild Growth goes down. The ultimate running. They haven't got enough damage to take him through that ultimate. Requiem will come through, and Limited's going to go down on that one. The rest of the team all going low. cowTard having to get the shield out there. Nyph trying to land the bubble. Gets the Aqua Prison on 2 of them. The rest of Alliance push on through. The tower goes down. They managed to take Amazing down as well. There's the second inhib of the game. And Alliance with the Super Minions could finish the game right here.
Yeah, and even though Copenhagen Wolves actually caught Tabzz at first, they didn't have any damage afterwards. They couldn't do anything against Alliance.
They're going to drive on through. YoungBuck's the only land remaining, trying to keep them at bay. Can he keep them off that turret? He's the only one ballsy enough to try and face them off, but instead he's going to get taken down. Alliance push on through. The second Nexus falls, and now the Nexus will go down. We are all squared, ladies and gentlemen, in this quarterfinal. It's 1-1, and it's certainly gone the distance once again. We had a long game in game 1. It's a 42-minute game 2. Who will Fnatic face in the semifinals? Who will SK face in the semifinals? Who knows? Because these teams don't want to win.
Don't want to win. They certainly don't want to lose, that's for sure. And one mistake this game simply meant that Alliance, even though they were behind in gold, it was all they needed. One mistake by Forgiven, they caught him out, killed him, rushed straight for the Baron, and from there on, the mobility, the kite from Copenhagen Wolves meant nothing because Alliance would just push down on the turret, force them to actually team fight. And once we actually saw the big team fights, the only thing Copenhagen could do was try and run away and kite. It worked for them before the Baron went to Alliance because they were actually hitting gold. They had enough damage, had enough poke to just stay and hit the turrets a few times, hit Alliance, get the turrets down slowly, work the objectives, and it worked until that one moment where Forgiven stays too long alone.
So we're going to be going into game 3. It's a big, big game. Obviously, both teams, who's going to get the semi-final, who knows? But this time around, the Wolves are back on the red side. Could they try and do the same tactic they did in game 1?
Well, Jax should be banned away by Alliance again. Or maybe even Copenhagen Wolves feel like they need to ban the Jax if Wickd feels confident first picking it. If they don't want to deal with it, they might actually have to ban it away. So we need to see which team decides to ban Jax, but I definitely believe he will be banned away. And at the same time, when it comes to, of course, red side here, yes, they can last pick. But when it comes to last picking for, let's say, mid lane for cowTard, it's actually something they normally don't. They save the last pick for someone like YoungBuck, and his Mundo pick here against the Ryze, it didn't actually do anything.
Well, it was a fantastic game overall. What do we make of it then? Alliance obviously turned this one around. Copenhagen Wolves are going to be now sitting at it. They had a fairly dominant victory in game 1, but they got themselves ahead. They had a 4,000 gold advantage at one point, I believe, in that game. But we always knew that the tiers, once they stack up, they're going to become big items. Once those power spikes hit in the Ryze, the Karthus, what are they going to do to counter this time around? And to basically stop themselves being in that situation, because they always seem to have this lull, this period, the 20 to 30 minute mark, where they just seem a little unsure of how to close the game.
Copenhagen Wolves needs to stop getting overexcited. Because every single time they're actually winning the fight, doing well in the game, they overextend, they do an aggressive move. We saw Forgiven early on in this game flashing over the wall into 4 people as well in the team fight when they were chasing up. And they're making these plays which might not seem like a big deal, just die once at the 20-minute mark, but it buys time for Alliance with this late game setup to just farm up. So it was a big deal actually, and they need to stop making these over-aggressive plays because they were ahead. They had the game at least for the moment under control to just push all the lanes, disengage every single team fight. Yes, of course, the power spikes were there for the Alliance side. The late game comp, if in a straight-up team fight, would have been, as we saw, in favor of Alliance. But still, Copenhagen did what they actually could do with the comp they had. The only thing I would like to see them do more, if we get the same setup here, very late game from Alliance and more mid-game focus from Copenhagen Wolves, they need to punish Ryze more early on. They didn't. They tried to dive him.
Well, they banned it in game 1, of course.
They banned it in game 1. That's a good way to punish Ryze, of course, make sure he's not in the game. But they dived him once up in the top lane. They killed him, and from there on and out, they actually didn't touch him. He was left to just farm up. And even though they killed the turret, they didn't do anything to try and shut him down. Froggen was just free farming in the mid lane, so they didn't punish Alliance enough in the early mid game, where Karthus and Ryze are weak champions compared to how they are late game.
Well, what a fantastic series it's been so far. We're going to be back in a few moments, guys. We're going to go to a break. So far, it is 1-1, all square in this quarterfinals. Alliance versus the Copenhagen Wolves. Do not go anywhere.